What's good, y'all boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? We back at it again with another video. The worst city on earth built in Minecraft, bro. Hey, Minecraft is one of the goated. Minecraft is definitely the goated game of the world. I think we should give the Minecraft number one. Right behind that is Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? Right behind that, we can give it to Warzone, Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I think behind that we should give it to like 2K, bro. Give it to 2K, bro. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
A city like this has never existed before, and probably never will again. This is the Kowloon Walled City. It was lawless, filthy, unsafe, and overcrowded, making it one of the worst cities on Earth. But despite the danger and decay, it has a strange beauty that's hard to explain. Why is a city born from chaos so captivating? To find out, I'm gonna build it in Minecraft.
Dude, really, bro, Minecraft is like, I think it's a lot of geniuses in Minecraft, bro. A lot of smart people is in Minecraft. For real.
To get the size and location of the buildings accurate, I made a 3D model of it first, which I could then bring into Minecraft as a starting point. The city began as a Qing military outpost, but when treaties left it in a legal gray zone, it grew rapidly without oversight, becoming this dense, complicated maze. As I pieced this together, I began to understand why there weren't many successful builds of this place. Every building and alleyway is completely unique, with every part of it fitting together unpredictably. I realized how difficult it was going to be to capture the city's raw and...
But I can see that this is what the future would look like if we get overpopulated. Just so crowded and bunched up, like on some very like cyberpunk shit, like for real.
lively complexity in Minecraft without it feeling too formulaic. I also quickly modeled the site topography and brought that into Minecraft first so that the buildings would have a base to sit on. And when I did this, I was really surprised at how steep the slope was on the site because it's not something that reads very well in images. In Minecraft, this might not seem like much, but in real life, this is about 45 feet or 14 meters of slope across the site, which is roughly the height of a 3-story building. And so that's pretty substantial and only adds to the complexity of the city.
That's true.
Then I finally started bringing in the buildings one group at a time, and I was already blown away by how dense this place was. Every time I thought I was finished with an area, there were always more buildings to load in. The walled city had an estimated population of roughly 33,000 people living in a city the size
33,000
of
in that little place. 33,000 people. That is ridiculous, bro.
4 American football fields. For comparison, imagine Islington, the densest part of London, but 80 times denser. And that's when I realized that
Bro, just think about if an STD entered a city. If an STD entered this city, bro, they cooked, bro. I know they done been cooked over STDs, bro.
this city was at its absolute maximum in every way. It would have been impossible to fit more people or more buildings into the boundary. The building heights were capped by airspace restrictions, and the only spaces between the buildings were what was absolutely essential for maneuvering around.
That is wild, bro.
The only exception was a collection of smaller buildings in a courtyard in the very middle of the city. This was originally the magistrate's office, called a yamen, along with a few small temples. These courtyard buildings later served as spaces for community gatherings, classrooms, and social events. Once I had the building massings in place, I changed all the materials to more realistic colors. At this point, I really wanted to start building the unique facades, but I decided that it was more important to build some of the internal aspects first, while the buildings were still in this simple block phase. While I didn't plan on completing every single interior room of the city, I did think it was important to try to make the city explorable with floors and stairs, so that hopefully people that play on this world can at least walk around a little bit and try to experience.
That's crazy. Like, I ain't never played Minecraft, but just to think that you can do all this on Minecraft, bro. We might be in a simulation. It's possible that we might be in a simulation, bro. I'm not gonna capture you, bro.
A bit of how chaotic it would be to actually live here and move around. In the actual city, it was said that most buildings were connected horizontally through ad hoc links or homemade bridges, and that you could even go from one end of the city to the other without touching the ground. I didn't think I'd be able to pull this off in the build 100% accurately, but I at least wanted to make sure that buildings that touched had a few doorways to connect them. And this was kind of a challenge. I ended up copying out a flat slice of the city to use as a floor plan, which I then punched hundreds of individual doorways into wherever buildings were touching. Then I copied the doorway pieces up so that they would be on every level, then pasted them down into the buildings. Once the stairs and doorways were in place, I tried them out by walking around briefly, and I realized that I could not take 2 or 3 turns without immediately losing track of where I was or how to get back.
I know it, bro. All this shit you done built, boy. Damn.
It was extremely disorienting and made me feel like I was in some sort of 3-dimensional maze. As confusing as this may seem in Minecraft, it's still nowhere near the reality of the actual city. In my build, I have every floor aligning nicely, which makes it easier for me to build, but realistically, the floors were not aligned, and buildings were not always perfectly flush against each other either.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Now that the city had some sort of internal circulation logic, I could finally start on the iconic facades. I tackled the facades in 3 main stages. First, I built a set of individual, unique pieces in various widths, which would give me the flexibility to fit all building sizes. Next, I combined those pieces into distinct columns, each with its own character.
I want him to tell us how long he actually took to make this, though. Hopefully he tells us how long it took to make this on Minecraft. I know probably more than 8 hours, bro. At the least. That's just a guess.
Finally, I placed those columns across every building face, carefully aligning them with the floor levels to make the city feel cohesive while still capturing that randomness of it. The appearance of this city has been compared to other cities, like the favelas in Rio de Janeiro for its similar, chaotic, self-built look, or a couple of cities in Yemen for its similar, rigid and compact morphology. But as far as I'm concerned, the walled city stands alone in its visual identity, because it blends those two extremes in a way that I don't think will ever be replicated. These are serious high-rise buildings, some of them reaching 14 stories tall, yet constructed from the ground up in a vernacular style that's more common in human-scale neighborhoods, like the ones in Rio, for example. The sheer amount of character and personality in just one building is enough to be unique and interesting, but side by side visually with 50 others, all unique as well. To me, this is a major part of why this city has become so iconic. After spending a lot of time, a few building chunks were starting to come together, but I quickly realized how much more there was to do. While there are some incredible images on the internet of the walled city, there are only so many, and I knew that if I was going to give this city a proper recreation, then I had to go deeper and find some more references. A lot of the best images you can find online about the walled city were taken by a photographer named Greg Girard. I looked him up and found his Instagram, and literally on the same day that I checked, he had posted that his book City of Darkness was back in print. And even better, this was an updated version with even more photos, stories, and details than the original.
See, this is dedication. He is very dedicated to this video to go to this extent. The hours he probably put in this video, we gotta give him a like, y'all. If you watching this, we gotta go give him a like, man.
I was stoked and ordered it immediately. With this book, I finally felt like I had what I needed to continue building this city, and so I finished wrapping the outer-facing facades and then moved on to the sides facing the central courtyard. And as it started to take on the character of the real city, I felt more motivated to push through to complete it. I realized that pretty much every face that could see daylight had windows, which is a crucial detail for capturing the city's liveliness. This created another building challenge that I was able to work through using Axiom, World Edit, and a backup I had made of the world. The walled city had everything a normal city had. Apartments, stores, small restaurants and factories, even some unlicensed clinics and dentists taking advantage of the city's unique legal status. It was like stacking 100 small towns vertically inside a few city blocks. Once the building faces were done, I had to do something about the site, so I traced a map of the area and brought that into Minecraft and smoothed out the topography.
Bro, this guy dedicated, bro.
I also started to notice more of the newer buildings that surrounded the city and just how big and bland they were compared to the tight and intricate scale of the walled city. That contrast seemed really important to put on display in this build, so I modeled the buildings in the immediate surroundings and quickly finished them in Minecraft.
That's crazy. The buildings, the newer buildings kind of look more like, you know what I'm saying, livable. But that building just looks so crazy. It's an illegal city. I don't get it. I'm gonna have to do some more research on this city now that I've seen this video.
Just to help add to the ambience of the area. Another thing I discovered was the crucial role that the rooftops played in the city, both functionally and recreationally. The rooftops provided an alternative route through the city above the dark, garbage-filled alleyways below. and offered more sunlight than the cramped streets, making them natural destinations for children to play, neighbors to gather, or anyone seeking a bit of fresh air. It wasn't until I was finishing this build that something hit me. This might be the only city in history built entirely at the human scale. Every inch of it was shaped, placed, or adapted to serve someone's daily life. Today's cities are shaped by restrictions like zoning laws and building codes. Kowloon Walled City had none of that, but the lack of rules did not mean freedom. It meant danger. No fire protection, no sanitation, no real infrastructure. You couldn't even ride a bike through this city. It was unsanitary, unsafe, and impossible to sustain. And yet, that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. People's laundry hung up everywhere that air could reach. The rooftop jungle of wires and antennas. The constellations of fluorescent lights along the city's walls. These were not designs. They were improvisations, and they made the city feel alive and intensely human. What do you see when you look at this city?
Hey, this dude. What I see when I look at this city that you made, that you're a hard-working, dedicated Minecraft player, bro. You deserve the likes. You deserve the follows. You deserve everything, bro. Because the time you put into this, I mean, you didn't tell us how long it took you to make it, but I know you put in some OT for this shit, man. I just want to congratulate you, bro, for real. You feel me? I'm going to give you a like, you feel me? I'll give you a like right now. And a sub. Like and a sub, bro. Like and a sub, bro. I need to watch some more of you, bro. But yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Stay tuned for the next one, man. We out of here, nigga.